I've been smelling outboard motor oil since I was 6 weeks old, and I really feel like it was in my DNA. So my parents were competitive water skiers, and my mom actually skied with me until she was 6 months pregnant, and the doctor found out and he was like, you gotta stop. And so she stopped, but she said, we couldn't quit practicing because you were born. So 6 weeks after I was born, my dad actually made a floating carrier for me, and I was in the boat with them smelling motor oil since I was 6 weeks old.
6 weeks in a floating carrier,
Yes.
smelling fuel.
Yes.
Well, that smell always made me feel like happy because
Yes.
you smell the outboard engine.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that's cool.
It just brings back those memories. And literally, my dad said they would do their trick run. They would put me up underneath the bow. They would do their trick run. They would get done, pull me out, feed me, and then back underneath their next trick run. And so I've been smelling outboard motor oil since I was 6 weeks old, and I really feel like it was in my DNA.
Yeah, absolutely. Was in your DNA. So Randi Gold is going to ask you a question now.
Okay.
So yeah, and we obviously we love your story. What was your first real role in the maritime industry, and what did you learn about it? What lessons did you learn early on, and that you carry forward with your own team?
Yeah, so my first tier in life, I would say, I had a 25-year career at BellSouth. And I was the director of marketing and sales, and my life was about getting on the boat after work and on the weekends.
Love it.
And I decided to leave when BellSouth and AT&T were merging. I had no idea what I was going to do. But I left at 25 years, and I knew I would find something. Had no idea it would end up being boating. And I literally prayed every day and said, God, show me, point me, what is my new thing? And Freedom Boat Club showed up. And I could not believe that I was going to be able to marriage all of my sales and marketing skills with my love and my passion for boating. And that's when I really began to understand the difference between loving what you do and having a passion for what you do. Because I could not wait to get everybody on the water. And Randi Underwood was the top salesperson at the time for Freedom Boat Club, and he said in Sarasota he wanted everyone to know about Freedom Boat Club. I said, you know what? Everyone in Jacksonville, Florida is going to know about Freedom Boat Club.
I love that.
And so that was my entry, was
Yeah.
Freedom Boat Club into the maritime world.
So you went from BellSouth, which was probably a big portion of employees were women,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Especially in
Yes.
marketing, because you
Yes.
see a lot of women
Yes.
in marketing.
Yes.
So switching over to an industry where there's less women in this industry, how did you pave your way?
So one of the things that I feel incredibly blessed about is that my dad had 3 girls, and somebody had to learn how to drive the boat, back the trailer, and my dad I never thought we couldn't do it. Like, I just always thought women can boat. Like, I learned how to drive a boat, I learned how to back the trailer, we can do it. But entering into the business where, there's not a whole lot of women, it was like, wow, you've really got to make your mark. And the cool thing for me was that I got so much support from all of the male people. They really supported me in that endeavor. And I really think they were proud that a woman could do this, and a woman could boat, and a woman could lead and show them how to do it.
Yeah, that's what I love. Like, did I have this upside down? No, it's good. That's what I love, because in the industry we're in,
Yes.
a lot of people think, oh, the male pushback, but I never had that.
Yes.
I had one owner say to me they wouldn't hire me because they weren't sure because I was a woman. Only once in my career.
Right.
That's over 35 years. Isn't that incredible? And it's a misconception.
It's definitely a misconception.
Because I always say to people, women want to have babies. They're not going to go to sea or be away from their babies and their children. And for men, it's easier for them to do that because it's always been status quo, right?
Right.
But when I entered this industry, I had a man support me. And I've always had men support me. So I just wanted to make that clear to all the listeners, because it's so incredible when you think about everything that you've done and the support you've gotten, especially from your partner.
Oh my gosh, yes. My partner is a male, obviously, who just really has supported me the whole entire time and was very excited to purchase the business with me. And it brings up something that I want to say about Freedom Boat Club. One of the things that I loved about Freedom Boat Club is it made boating for women easy. So there is, this whole thing about backing the trailer, and then what if something goes wrong and I don't know how to fix it. And that is mostly a male thing that happens. Now, in the industry, I want to say we have women mechanics, we have women that do parts now, but, and so at Freedom Boat Club, they can learn how to drive with our captains, and they can go out and have the security to know if anything happens, there's always going to be someone at the dock for them to call. And for me to be able to see the amount of women that have begun to enjoy boating because of that is really awesome.
You lead 5 Freedom Boat Club locations,
Yes.
right? I mean, what does that take operationally across the northeast of Florida?
Yes. So it takes a really great team. Like, seriously, I cannot give my team enough credit. They are amazing, and I am so grateful for them. And they come up with ideas. As a matter of fact, if we're going to talk about the boat tours, that was one of my team that came up with that idea. And so surround yourself with good people, surround yourself with good mechanics. Get involved in the industry, and just make sure that there is no I in team, and I don't do it by myself at all. It's them, and I'm so blessed and thankful for that.
As my friend Randy Gold says, teamwork makes the dream work.
Yes,
Yes. So,
and have a good partner.
and
too.
have a good partner.
yeah.
You
Yes.
actually taught me that with the charter business I'm
Yes.
starting.
Yes.
That you said that you gave them a lot. Like,
Yeah.
the deal came to you, but you knew you needed to
Yes.
have that.
I could not do it by myself.
Right.
And, I couldn't have done it without Kevin, and I wouldn't have done it without Kevin. He's amazing. And the thing that's beautiful for us is that we are really the right and the left side of the brain. So when we won Franchise of the Year several years ago, one of the guys who worked for me came up and said, "Hey, I want to hug the left and the right side of the brain of this business." But it is really true. And so, and then when we collaborate, what we collaborate on is even better because we put those two sides together.
You talk about blue mind and water as
Yes.
wellness, which we love that phrase. So
Yes.
what are the top changes you see in families and women just in general when they're spending time on the water?
First of all, kids are not on their devices. People aren't on their devices. They are tubing, they are laughing, they are looking at dolphins, they are connecting. And then what I've seen with children is the skill sets that they learn, like when they're learning to ski or wakeboard or tube or do the zup board, they're gonna fall. They're gonna have to step up again. And I have seen the kids where they get the tenacity and they know they have to try again, and they get that I won't give up attitude. And then when they get up and the whole boat's screaming because they got up and everybody's excited for them. So, they're learning those confidence skills inside of themselves. What I've seen for women is my women take their tennis teams out, their book clubs out, or they go to lunch and they're laughing and they're joyous. I tell people all the time, when you see Jacksonville and St. Augustine from the water, you're seeing it from a totally different perspective.
Exactly. I said that with Below Deck. I remember there was the president, and I said, "Let me take you to show you America, because it's absolutely beautiful." And I go from New York to Long Island. She goes, "I don't think people would want to see that." I go, "That's because you've never seen it from the water."
Yes.
And one of the most beautiful places that I've ever cruised, because I've done a lot of the East Coast, was from St. Augustine to Jacksonville because of the nature.
Yes.
You could see restaurants and concrete jungle, that's South Florida, right? Which I spent a lot of time in South
Yes.
Florida, and it's pretty.
Yes.
But this is spectacular.
Spectacular.
When you drive through it, you just feel like you're a part of nature.
Yes, and then you see dolphins jumping or a turtle
right.
or something like that, and the kids are screaming, and they're just joyful, and they are feeling that joy of the nature.
Yeah.
And then scientifically, Blue Mind says it calms your system down, your nervous system down, and you're experiencing the beauty of life and letting go of the stress. What I say is the water takes all your stress away.
Absolutely. You know what? Every time, as a captain throughout the years before Below Deck, it's stressful. We do deliveries. It is really rough. We have engine, breakdowns. We have
Yes.
stabilizer issues. We have issues because you're in rough seas.
Yep.
And the crew are just stressed and they're seasick. And, I'll find a calm spot and I'm like, everybody in the water. And we would jump in the water and it just reset everyone.
Yeah.
And that's what the water does for people. The first time I met Lisa, she was having a fundraiser for my sister's school.
Yes. Yeah.
On the
On the 80-foot houseboat that was our office that we called the Boffice.
Yeah.
Because we didn't have this office. There was no office for us here. So we bought an 80-foot houseboat and wrapped it and called it our Boffice for us here. So we bought an 80-foot houseboat and wrapped it and called it our Boffice.
I love that. Yeah. So basically, the TV show, and a lot of people out there, especially in the industry, they don't really like it. I think I'm changing their mind little by slowly over the last 10 years I've been doing it. However, Captain Sandy's Charities was founded because of Below Deck Mediterranean. And what happened was I got thousands of messages from viewers of the show, parents, kids wanting to get in the industry. How do I do that? Because there was never really an in-school curriculum to teach kids about this industry, which is an epic industry. It's very cool. We have great parties, but it is hard work. And you get to travel the world if you go at sea,
Yep.
or you could be land-based and work in a shipyard. Electricians, plumbers, carpenters make 20% more in a shipyard. They have wicked benefits. It is incredible. And so my responsibility now is to the viewer and to everyone out there to show you how you can get into this industry. So we lobbied in the state of Florida, got the money the first year, rolled it out in high school. Second year was middle school. Third year is elementary, that's this year. And hopefully we get the money for the fourth year. But what we really want is to take this global, and that curriculums are very expensive. Distributing curriculums are very expensive. I wish it was not so expensive, but it is. It's a lot of work. These teachers work hard to create these curriculums.
Yeah.
They're former teachers.
Yeah.
We use Young Minds Inspired. It's a great team. They work very hard and diligent. And it's people like you that help us give them information to put into the curriculum. All the boaters out there, just send us your questions because we would love to implement that into the curriculum. And so basically to take it global, we need your money for that. So I wish I was really rich and I could just fund the entire thing because I would.
That's okay. You're going to get supporters through this.
Yes.
So what I want to say is a couple things. One of the things is, not everybody is going to be an executive and not everybody needs to go to college. I believe we were all sent here with a purpose and all of our purposes are different. And, I look at my team, for instance, I have people that didn't go to college that started at the dock. They got promoted to one level. My director of operations started with us with marketing. She did go to college, but she started with marketing. And then she was the assistant operations manager. Now she's the director of operations. Our director of operations started as a dock hand with us. He's a certified marina manager, and then he became our director of operations. Now he's our general manager. And so, we give a platform for people to come up through the industry. I absolutely love that Captain Sandy's Charities is teaching this in school so that people don't feel pressured to go to college when it's really not a fit for them. And there are so many incredible jobs in our industry. Dock hand, it's not just about going at sea. Like you said, shipyard.
Yeah.
With us, we have, several different roles just in Freedom Boat Club.
Yeah.
So, and then as far as the charity part goes, several years ago, Mike White, who owned a media company here, called me up and he said, "Hey, I got a great idea for you. Would you like to do some charity boat rides with kids?" And I was like, "Yeah, what do you mean?" So what we did is we have an itinerary and the kids show up at the dock and we take them down to a park and we feed them lunch and then we take them back through and look for alligators and dolphins and stuff. And we've done it with Dreams Come True, Father's Harbor, Big Brothers Big Sisters, all sorts of different charities. And some of these kids would never have the opportunity to be on a boat. So that was an amazing gift to give. So much fun. Got our members to drive the boats. It was great. So now here comes Captain Sandy's Charities. And we had a member that came to us and said, "Hey, look, do you have like a fund that you could put together for Christmas gifts? Because we have 5 different locations, all different dock guys." So several years ago, we started a thing where we go at Christmas and we say, if you want to contribute to the fund, we put all the funds together and divide it up between the staff for Christmas. So then Kevin, my partner, and I decided that we would match that fund. and then came up with the idea to match that to a charity. And so 2 years ago, our members gave so much that the match was $9,000 that we gave to Captain Sandy's Charities.
That was incredible.
That came from our member giving
Yep.
for the dock staff. So it was like, and I have goosebumps. It was like a win-win-win-win-win, you know. And so that's why, you know, we want to support it again. So now let's talk about today. So Florida Water Tours is a tour boat bus in tour boat in St. Augustine, and they're a member, and we're going to do some tours with them for our members, things that our members wouldn't get to do, like 40 people on a boat together, sunset cruise, full moon cruises, things like that. My director of operations, Mackenzie, who you've met, we were talking about it, and I said, look, you have to charge something, because if you don't, people aren't going to show up. So we're giving it to them at 50% off. But then she had the idea, well, why don't we donate that money to a charity? Since we don't really need it, I mean, because we've got this trade with them. And so we're donating it to Captain Sandy's Charity.